Florida State adds to its 2025 recruiting class with another offensive lineman.
You are Locked On Seminoles, your daily podcast on the Florida State Seminoles. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back into Locked On Seminoles. I am your host, Brian Smith, longtime college football recruiting analyst and writer. Thank you for making Locked On Seminoles your first listen each and every day. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. From the opening whistle to the final drive, FanDuel makes the NFL playoffs even more exciting. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win your first bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. The Noles add another offensive line recruit to the class of 2025. This time it is Chavez Sandman Thompson from Cocoa High School in Florida, one of the best programs in the Sunshine State. This is an offensive lineman that is pegged to play center, but he's also a very versatile player, and we're going to break it down from his film, his rankings, where he fits in, and what Florida State has going on overall with the offensive line. So, as a player, this is a young man that I knew about when he was a sophomore. He was at O'Galley High School in Melbourne before transferring to Cocoa. To be honest with you, I didn't think that he was going to be an O lineman. I thought he was going to be a D lineman. And I like his defensive film just as much. But here are a few of the things that I like about him overall. And to be honest, I'm not surprised that he ended up at Florida State because Oregon got him first. He ended up at FIU before flipping to the Noles. Number one, stays low. He's 6'1", 305, 310 pounds. This is a power player, kind of built like Maurice Smith for Florida State, who fits the interior as well. He's got good hips. He runs his feet after contact. A lot of offensive linemen stop their feet and just use power. And he's a tenacious guy. He will drive a player down the field, doesn't care about the whistle so much. He may need to be a little careful of that. He's a little overzealous, and he's got a lot of lateral quickness. If there's one trait that is very key about him beyond his natural strength, which is obvious, lateral quickness. Sandman is not a guy that you're going to beat laterally with just a quick step. You really got to be on your game technique-wise. His first step laterally is elite, and that's especially obvious based on his defensive film. Again, I thought he was just as good, if not better, as a defensive tackle. With Florida State going to a three-man line, they don't need as many guys in that 6'1" range, but I could see him playing it too. In a traditional 4-3 get up the field defense, he's the kind of guy that's at Duke, that's kind of like Howard Cross that played at Notre Dame, kind of like some of the Georgia Tech guys, Virginia Tech guys you've seen over the years, a little undersized, but really athletic. That's what this young man is. Things that he needs to work on. Sometimes, like a lot of young offensive linemen, he will lunge a little bit to try to get to a guy. Feet first, always. Head up. That's something else he needs to do even once he's made contact. Hit what you see, period. That's the end of that. And then finally, utilize his lower body more. Once he's into a player, he's so strong in his upper body. Thompson sometimes would, although he's still moving his feet, he didn't really hunker down and power through his hips and maximize. Those are some of the things that I noticed. As far as rankings go, he's a 3-star across the board. The highest rankings were the number 5 interior offensive lineman by ESPN and number 10 as it relates to rivals. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about him and as a player, how he develops, how he fits into this class, and what Florida State needs next with its offensive line group. From the first whistle to the final drive, FanDuel makes the NFL playoffs even more exciting. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's $300 in bonus bets to get the action going. Really quick, think about this. If you're going to go out and do something with an app, FanDuel is tremendous. It's easy to navigate from the get-go as soon as you get in it. So whether you're placing a prop bet or you're going out there to do anything regarding a game that's an over-under, you like a player, you like a quarterback yardage, it's easy to do it on FanDuel. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today and get started with $300 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Make the playoff season unforgettable with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the National Football League. All right. Florida State in 2024 signed 4 linemen. And with him being added, meaning Mr. Sandman Thompson, that's 3 for this class. And there's a chance they're still going to get Chasten Brown. There's a crystal ball hitting on him from 24/7. That would be 2 classes in a row with 4 linemen. Now, numbers are part of the gig, but you got to sign quality too. Chasten Brown's got a high upside. So does this young man. I think he's underrated, to be honest, as a 3-star. But again, a lot of people liked him as a D-line. O-line is where Florida State pegs him. We'll see how that works. But Mario Nash is in this class. Florida State has a better class overall than what a lot of people give them credit for. And to be honest, I don't really think that it's going to be known, like most classes, how good it's going to be long-term, because some of these guys are still growing on their body. For instance, Chasten Brown is like 270 or so. Maybe he's a guy that ends up at 320. I don't know. He's 6'6", 6'7". He's the kid out of Northside High School in Warner Robins. Everybody thinks Florida State's going to get him, but you got to find out long-term if he's going to put in the work and he's going to take to the technique. But as I've said numerous times in the last 6-8 months, Florida State's got to do a better job recruiting high school linemen. This is a great step in the right direction. Getting more balance, getting more numbers, getting more athletes. Florida State is doing each and every one of those. For this next class, they already have Xavier Payne committed, 6'7", 325 pounds out of Jones High School in Orlando. I've seen him the last couple of weekends, 5-on-5 tournaments, practices, etc. He's a big guy that still needs to work on technique, but another guy that can play guard or tackle long-term. So they're continuing to progress. I'd like to see him get 4, depending on who the player might be. A 5th offensive lineman in the class of 2026 would be fine. Quality is going to be of the utmost importance. You're starting to get the numbers now. You need to get guys that can push the pile, a younger guy that pushes the guy ahead of him that redshirted. May the best man win. That's how it's always been in Florida State, and that's how it should continue to be at Florida State. Also, with this overall group, Nash, I think from the last 2 classes so far, I would take him over anybody they've signed. Just my opinion. Mario Nash Jr., I think, can be the left tackle. Do I think he can play next year? This coming season, I should say? I doubt it. Most freshmen you don't want out there. He could probably contribute, but at the same time, maybe at the end of the year or something, Herpan's a really good O-line coach. I guess I shouldn't sell Mario short in that regard, but adding a guy like Thompson, that's somebody else to put at center too. Is he ready right away? Probably not. Asking a young man to play center as a freshman is a really bad idea most often, but you got to get him in there and get reps. That's what the scout team's for, and you learn all the basics with the footwork, of course, the playbook, and then he gets in the top shape with Florida State strength staff. I still need to see somebody step up from this past class or the one coming up this fall to make me feel really good about where Florida State stands. But overall, the O-line group is headed in the right direction, and it's the key step in making this program much, much better. I think the defense, with all the additions they had, Coach Coop and Pot Roast and Coach White, everybody they've added in general and through the portal, that's all great. But this O-line group, this is another piece. Maybe they'll add another, and they're starting to build the 26 group. That's going to be the key to get Florida State back in contention. Look at the teams in the playoffs, especially the teams that finished in the Final Four. They almost exclusively recruit high school offensive linemen and develop them over time. Florida State has to get that. And if they do, with all the talent they're bringing in on defense, they can be a national program once again. Thank you for making Locked On Seminoles your first listen each and every day. I truly appreciate you stopping in to talk Seminoles with me. Hit that like button, that notification bell, and subscribe to this podcast. If you want to hear more about what's going on in the portal and Florida State in general, at FB Scout _Florida on X. I will talk to everybody again soon.